The voice was soft, trembling, like a whisper carried on the cold wind of a harsh city morning. Jacob turned, his coat flapping in the wind, and saw a little girl, no older than 10, standing barefoot near the entrance of a bakery. Her clothes were torn, her eyes hollow from hunger. He had seen many beggars in his life, but something about her stopped him. Maybe it was the way she looked at him, not with pity, not even with desperation, but with a flicker of dignity. As if, even in her hunger, she hadn't given up on herself. Jacob was just a 23-year-old university student then, barely managing to pay rent and tuition, but he couldn't walk away. He knelt beside her and asked gently, "What's your name?" "Amara," she said, voice barely audible. "Where are your parents?" "Gone," she replied. "I live behind the temple, with my little brother." Jacob didn't say anything more. He bought her a full meal from the bakery. Then he handed her a small bag of rice, some milk, and a few apples from the nearby grocery store. Before leaving, he pressed a folded note into her hand, a few hundred rupees he was saving for his own dinner. "Take care of your brother," he said. "This world can be cruel, but don't let it harden your heart." She looked up, tears in her eyes. "Why are you helping me?" He smiled. "Because someone once helped me." That was the last time Jacob ever saw her. 20 years later. Dr. Amara Rahman was one of the most respected neurosurgeons in the country. Her rise had been extraordinary, from a hungry orphan begging outside a bakery to saving lives inside state-of-the-art hospitals. Few knew her story. She never spoke of the streets, or the long nights studying by candlelight after working 2 jobs. But she remembered. Every time she walked into the hospital, she remembered the man with kind eyes and a torn backpack. She had no idea who he was, just his name from a scribbled note, Jacob. And then one evening, the ER doors slammed open. A man in his mid-40s was wheeled in, unconscious, barely breathing. Car accident. Severe internal bleeding. The nurses rattled off his vitals, but Amara wasn't listening. She had seen that face before. Pale. Bloodied. A scar near his left eyebrow. Her heart skipped a beat. "Patient name?" she asked, forcing her voice to stay calm. "Jacob Ali," a nurse said, reading from his ID. Amara nearly dropped the chart. It was him. The man who once saved her life was now clinging to his. Hours in surgery. The procedure was long. Complicated. There were moments when even Amara, known for her calm under pressure, felt panic rise. But every time she felt it, she remembered that little girl behind the bakery. She remembered how he hadn't hesitated to help her, even when he had so little. Now, she was fighting for his life. The morning after. Jacob woke up in the ICU, eyes blinking against the light. He felt pain, but also warmth. A hand was resting on his. He turned and saw her. I know you," he murmured. Amara smiled through tears. "You saved me, years ago. Outside a bakery. I was just a kid." Jacob blinked, the memory slowly returning. Amara, the girl with the strong eyes. She nodded, squeezing his hand. "You gave me food, and hope. I never forgot. And now, it was my turn." The full circle. Jacob stayed in the hospital for weeks. Amara visited him daily, bringing him books, coffee, and stories. He learned about her journey, how she had fought for scholarships, worked day and night, studied medicine, and eventually become a top surgeon. "I wanted to give back," she said one day. "But I didn't know I'd be giving it back to you." Jacob laughed softly. "I didn't expect to need it." Amara placed a hand on his shoulder. "We never know when kindness comes full circle. But it always does." Months later. Jacob fully recovered. He returned to his work. Now as a teacher, guiding underprivileged kids through education. Amara joined him in his mission. Together, they opened a foundation that gave food, shelter, and education to street children, named the Full Circle Trust. One evening, standing together under the same bakery sign where they had first met, Jacob looked at Amara. "You know," he said, "I thought I saved a little girl that day. But turns out, I was saving my own future." Amara smiled, her eyes glistening. "And I was given a second chance, because you believed I was worth more than the world saw."